Start recording. Here we are, biblical word study. We study one word at a time from the Hebrew and the Greek in the mostly King James Bible. And today we're going to be doing clothing, garments, robes, clothing, coat, mantle, cloak, robe. It's all kinds of stuff, man. All kinds of stuff. And where to start, I don't know. But I got this page here. I'm gonna go with the Old Testament here first. I think. Look at these words here. This is from Nave's. If you got Nave's Topical Bible, I got it up here somewhere. It's a good book. It's got good stuff in it, and a lot of cross references and things like that. And these words will be in there. Nave's Topical Bible. But let me give you the definitions first, and then we'll move on to some of the words here. This isn't a main one, but I'll give it to you anyway. Let me start with the one I got first on my page here. 8071. 80, here it is, 8071 and 8008. This is Simla, perhaps by permutation, whatever that is, for the feminine of 5566, which is Semel, which means image, idol, or a figure. So it's kind of like, whatever you put on, it's forming to your body, and it becomes, your idol, your image, your cover. So the cover, assuming the shape of the object beneath it, TWOT 2270. And if you're not familiar with these terms here, TWOT stands for Theological Word Book of the Old Testament. If you can get that, it's a 1-2 volume set. I got a 1 volume set. Some people have a 2 volume set. And it covers just about every verb you're ever going to run into in the Old Testament. And we got it over here, 2270. And we'll be looking at that, I think. And it's raiment, clothes, garment, apparel, cloth, wrapper. And it's also this 8008 in the Hebrew is salma. It's a garment, raiment, clothes, and it comes from the simla. All right, so that's one of the things we might be looking at. Hopefully, we'll cover one of these. So that's that, and then we got another one, which is like a lot of times in the Bible is beged. Garment, clothes, cloth. All right, it's over 200 times in the Bible. 899 in the Hebrew, TWOT 198, and it comes from this 898, which is bagad, treacherously, transgress. And I notice a lot of these things for clothing or garments and stuff, when you look at the verb that it comes from, it's usually like a negative thing, like sin, transgression, treachery. And we'll see that a little down further when we look at another one of these words. We'll see what that is. It has TWOT 198. All right. And then we have 3830, which is lebouche, clothing, garment, apparel, raiment. I have all these different words for clothing, garment, and stuff. And it comes from the 3847, which means to clothe or to put on. And right away I think of enduo, and we'll look at that too. That's 1740 something in the Greek. Enduo, to put on, clothe, put on, array. And this is TWOT 1075. So we'll be looking at that. And then we have another one here is 4598. And this was is mehil, right? Yeah, mehil. That means a robe or a mantle or a cloak in the sense of covering. From 4603, trespass. See, it's a negative thing there, just like the other one, treachery. So this is ma'al, trespass, commit, transgress, to act unfaithfully. TWOT 1230, and we'll look at some of them. And there's a couple of things connected with this. A 4594. Let me see if I have it down here. 4594. Was it? It's, oh, I got 5494. But there is a 4594. I got 4598. We just looked at. That's what we're looking at. Did we look at 3801 yet? No, we're going to look at this too. 3801 is kethanet, coat, a garment, a robe. Compare kathef, which means it's an unused root. This one here is side, shoulders, shoulder pieces, undersetters. So this is something that goes on the arm, and that's 1059. We're not going to look at that. This is 1058. What's happening here? All right, we got troubles. All right. Uh-oh. 1058. Yeah, let's get out of this one. I can't. Uh-oh. I'm stuck here for some reason. Whoa, boy, oh boy. Here we go. So. All right. I don't know what happened here. There we go. Scary. Adams was made of fur, also worn by a woman. 3802. Okay, now this 4590 here. Where's the 54? 5494. That's the wrong number. Okay, so it's 4594. 4594. My dyslexia is showing again. Okay, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joyful mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. So he had all these idioms here. He's calling us trees, you know, trees of righteousness. We're putting on some kind of garment here. And this is me'ateh. It goes with that other one, 4598, but it's a different TWOT number. The 4598 was 4598 was TWOT 1230, but this is somehow connected with this, and it's 4594. Me'ateh, garment, wrap, mantle, but it comes from 5844, which is atah, which means to cover, or array, or turn aside, to cover and wrap. Another like enduo type thing, and it's TWOT 1601, wrap, mantle, and we might get into some of these. But like I said, I'm just defining these. I'm giving you the definitions. And let me put this, that's one time in the Bible, so I'm not going to bother with that. We'll keep that there. And then the New Testament stuff, we'll go back and hit on some of those words. And then we don't know where we're going to start here. But this thing's stuck again. I don't know what's happening tonight. Something wrong with this. It's stuck. And it is causing me consternation. All right, let me get some of these New Testament words here. All right, here we go. 2440 is himation, a garment or a raiment, cloaks, upper garment, cloak, mantle, and it's like 59 times in the Bible. And it this one here, 2439, himatizo, that's the verb. It means to clothe, and that's the neuter noun. And this one here is the masculine noun, and it's himatismos, means a vesture or an apparel. And we got all the synonymous words here, but we're going to look at them one at a time here. So these three here, and there's no theological dictionary on this, so we could just read these at will here. And this is Mark 5:15, and they came to Jesus, and they see him that was possessed with the devil, and had the legion, sitting and clothed, what, in his right mind, and they were afraid. So how do you be clothed? In the sophroneo, right? In his right mind, sophroneo, to be in the right mind, to be sober, and in his right mind. So he was clothed with that. And then this is the same thing here in Luke 8:35. He was clothed in his right mind. And this cloak here, you see all the verses for cloak and garments, mostly garment and raiment. And we can go nuts looking at all of these words here for garment. As you can see, look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 10 different words there, 10 different TWOTs and knaves and things like that. And then raiment, you got a whole bunch of these too. We got 2 of them for raiment. All right, we can probably look at those. He was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. So there's like 50, almost 60 verses here with this 2440. I don't know why it's not in the theological dictionary, but it's not. But it would be a good study to have on that one. And then this 2441 is a vesture, where they parted his raiment. Okay, Matthew 27:35, and they crucified him, and they parted his garments. It's 2440. Himation, casting lots, and that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments, and upon among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. So it's the same thing. It's a masculine noun here, and it's a neuter noun there, himation. All right, and that goes back when you're talking in the Old Testament. In Psalms 22, they pierced my hands and my feet. It also goes down to say they cast lots for my garments. There it is. Psalms 22:18. They part my garments among them, and did cast lots upon my vesture. Almost used the same. They used the same English words in the New Testament that they had in the Old Testament. But this one here is garments. I don't think I looked at this one. Baged, we looked at that. And among them, and cast lots upon my lebouche. But we're going to look at these soon. We'll get into them. But they run into each other, just like everything else that I've seen when we're studying these words. We'll read one verse 5 times, and it'll have all these different verbs in it that are synonymous. And Luke 7:25. But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment, and we got to look at that. A man clothed, 294, clothed, amphinomy. I got to look that up. 294. That's new for me. 294. so clothed, okay, a man clothed in soft raiment, all right. And if God so clothed, so you got Matthew 6:30 talking about God clothing the grass of the field. And in Luke 12:28, he says, if God then so clothed the grass, well, okay. And then Matthew 11:8 and Luke 7:25 talk about the same thing. What you went out to see, a man clothed in soft raiment, and that was John the Baptist. And clothed in soft raiment, that 24:40, the hematon, gorgeously apparelled. All right. So no, what you go out to see? um, as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was alternate, and his raiment was white and glistening. And they did cast lots for on my vesture. I coveted no man's silver or gold or apparel. In like manner, also that the women adorn themselves in modest apparel. Modest apparel. Like manner, the women adorn themselves in modest apparel. Castole. One time in the Bible, and that's this verse here. Catastole, apparel, a lowering or a letting down, a garment let down, dress or attire, and it comes from catastello, to appease or to quiet, to send or to put down. Cata and stello. Stello means to avoid or withdraw. And that's interesting because 47, I got, what was the other word I was looking at that had to do with stello? Oh, man. I was just looking at it before we started, and we might run into it again. Stello, Catastello. I think it was 5509. My coat. No, that's ketone. What's this Stello? Here, Stola 4749. 4749. I think this is it. Stole. Yeah, from so it's Stole 4749. Stole, robe, clothing. And we didn't get to it yet, but then we'll get to that now. All right, here it is. I'm sorry about that. 4749. Is there a TDNT? Yes, it's 687. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I have a 7 up here? 687. Beware of scribes which love to go in long clothing, stello, or stole, and they love the salutations in the marketplace. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment. And they were frightened. This was when they went to the sepulchre, and they saw somebody in there with a long white garment. And then the prodigal son comes home, and the father says, bring forth the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And then in Revelation, here we go, I'm stuck again here. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Maybe I got too many of these open. I don't know. I can't do a restart now. Let's get a cup of tea, see what happens. Here we go. Stole. Old clothing. Revelation 7 and 9. Revelation 6, 11. some reason I can't get to the bottom of this thing here. And white robes were given unto every one of them. Who were they? The white robes. That's the linen robes. That's the priests. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season. And everybody was like, when are you going to, when's the end coming? When are you going to do this? He's saying, relax. Take your white robe, sit down and relax until thy fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they should be fulfilled. So we're all getting the white robes. And when the last one is given the white robe, that's the end. And in 7 and 9, after this, I beheld a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people, tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes. And how are they made white? With the blood. That's how they're made white, with the blood. And then, let me put this in context because it goes down here. 9 to 13, I think. Or 14, actually. Stood before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell down before the throne on their faces. And these are the 4 good beasts, but because this word here is not totherion, beast, this word here is zun, which means life or a living creature. Comes from zeo, to live. So don't confuse that with the totherion beast. The 4 beasts and fell down before the throne on their faces, and they worshiped God, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom, thanksgiving, honor, power, and might be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? Arrayed in peribalo. Let me put that down here. Peribalo, 40:16. Clothed. It comes from peri and balo. Balo is like ball. The cast, to throw down. 40:16. Arrayed. Here, I got to put these. I wrote it down, but all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. This is a good word, arrayed. I'll have to put it down, and hopefully we'll get to it sometime. Is there a TWOT and a TDNT on this? No. Okay. Who are they? Which of these were arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. In other words, I don't know. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. So you give the 2 colors, the red and the white. Jim covered that with the red corpuscles and the white corpuscles, and it was a very good study on biology. And the red becomes white. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in the temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them into living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. We're looking forward to that, aren't we? And that was the word stello. What is it? Stole. I'm sorry. That's a good word. Let me close this out. Yeah, I might have too many of these things open. I don't know what this is. All right, 1601. We did a little bit on that, but I'm going to go back to these the Greek words here. 5509 is a coat, keton, and it comes from that 3801. I'm pretty sure we looked at that already. Yeah, that's the excuse me, the cathonet. And we might get into that. 5509. And it comes from also 5511, which is klemos, which means a robe. Kalemas is an outer garment usually worn over the tunic. All right. And you know, when he talks about they don't want to see your nakedness, it's not actually naked. It means that you only have on one piece of clothing and you're not covered with two pieces. When you're walking up the stairs, they see your nakedness. So we got to dress properly, and hopefully we'll put on Christ and we'll be dressed properly. That's 5511. All right. And then 4749, the stole we looked at. 4158, a garment down to the foot. Poteres comes from pus, which is a foot, or means foot or footstool. A garment down to the foot. And Revelation 1:13, and in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Poteres. What's girdle here? I didn't look that up. 22, 23. Zone. Girdle, purse. And of course, the 1746 is that's in the theological dictionary. And duo is to put on or to be clothed with. And we know what we're supposed to be clothed with. But that comes from, I believe this is and Duma is from 1746. And Duma is raiment, garment, or clothing. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair and a leathern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. And there's something in Zechariah where it talks about the false prophets in rough garment or rough clothes, and hopefully we'll run into it. Zechariah, I don't think I have it written down here, but we'll run into it. So like I said, I'm just throwing these words at you here. And Duma, it's not in the theological dictionary, but I wrote it in the book there. And then that's 1742. And 1746 is enduo, which is to put on. And I did have the book here. I started doing something. In the New Testament, it is used figuratively and without object of the putting off of the body, like in 2 Corinthians 5:4. Well, 5:4, it will be, for we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. And before that, it's, if so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. And that's the enduo. But this 5:4 is unclothed, and that's ek duo. It's more about ek duo than there is about en duo. So one is clothed and one is unclothed. Okay. Here we go again. I can't even move it now. There we go. I don't know what I'm going to do here. This is troublesome. Oh boy, it's got a mind of its own now. All right. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for everything. All right, we'll get out of this.
Are you using the mouse?
No, I got my fingers here. I don't use a mouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your fingers checked.
Get my fingers checked here. This is wild, man. I can't even get out of this now. I'm dragging it around. That's all I'm doing here. Oh, there we go. So let me close that. So I was going to go somewhere with that, but it's not happening right now. 1746, 1746, and 1742. 1742. One is put on, and one, no, actually, it's not. Ek duo, I'm sorry, is 1562. 1562. That's stripped. Okay, so you got the opposites here. You got Ek duo. 1537 is Ek, and the base of 1416, which is Duno. Wow, that's interesting. It's still in a theological dictionary 2318. So duo. Let me put this number here. It says duno, but it's duo. 1416. Let me just do this here. 1416. Maybe we'll play around with this here. Yeah, so it's duno here, but in the book it's duo. So we'll have to see with that. And 1562 from 1466, and that even when the sun did set, duno, to set, to go into, to enter, they brought unto him all that were diseased and them that were possessed with devils. And in 440, that's the same thing. All right. So they brought all these people to Paul. I believe it was Paul. And they stripped him and put on him a scarlet robe. So 2728. So what's put on? This is driving me nuts now, man. I'm sorry, guys. This ain't right. But what are you gonna do? It's put on 4060. I'd like to know what that word is. 4060. So, all right. Turn it into one interesting study here. Let me take a sip of this good tea here. There we go. Every time I take a sip of tea, it's good. 4060. Let me see what this is. Put on. I said we just zing, zing, zing. We're zipping around the Bible with these words. And the Bible we know is one big word. We're just trying to define it, man. Hedge it about, roundabout. All right. Perititheme. I love that. Peri is around or near of, concerning, about. And titheme, of course, is to lay, to put, to lay down. Titheme. Perititheme. They had stripped him and they put on him a scarlet robe. So all these words, a lot of them run into each other. 47, 27, 28. 27, 28. A scarlet. Okay, boys and girls. I'm going to call it a night if this keeps happening. So there's no sense in driving everybody crazy. But as God wills, I don't know why this is doing this to me. I just might have to do a restart. But I can't look nothing up. So the common interpretation that Paul wished to avoid death and the resultant intermediate state of nakedness apart from the body, and that he therefore hopes to live on until the parousia. Cannot be supported by the unlikely reading of ek dous meno in verse 3, even if we die before the parousia. I'm just trying to find the word I was looking at here. Should I open this again? Forgot the numbers. Oh man, 14, 16. 14, 16. No, that's not it. What is part of this? 1562. I'm on the wrong page here. Here it is, 1562. Yeah, let me close this and open up a new one here. All right, see if this works, guys. All right, we'll go 1562. There it is. And they stripped him, Ek Duo. But there was something else I was looking at. And they put on 4060. Put on Peritithame. They put on. Why is it coming up like that? That is weird, man. All right. All right. They stripped him. They put on a scarlet robe. They filled his sponge with full of vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him the drink. They put on his members and bestow more abundant honor. Okay. So, strip him of his raiment, tabernacle groan, for we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. Clothed upon. Ep and duomai. Ep and duomai. I had to write that one in because that's one that's not in the book. Sometimes they don't put these in a book, but I put it in there. Ep and duomai. For in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed upon with our house, which is from heaven. Beautiful. For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon. So 2 Corinthians 5:2, 3, and 4. If so that we be clothed, and we shall not be found naked. All beautiful words here, man. Clothed upon, 1902, ependuomai. It's on 2:320. Ependuomai. There it is. 2:320. Ependuo. And then and that if so that being clothed and duo, we shall not be found naked. Gnume, right? Gumnos. Yeah, gumnos, naked. And it doesn't mean totally naked. It just means not having the right apparel on, actually. For we know that we are in this tabernacle, do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, 1562, ek duo, but that clothed upon, 1902, that's ependuomai, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. And this, I'm going to have to close this and this because it was giving me trouble. There's your 1902, 4060, and 1746. Let me do that again. Hold on a second. See if that pops up again. There it is. You should put on 1746. All right. And then this 4060, that's different. That's peritithame. But this one here, clothed upon, and these are also, this is in that theological dictionary. Okay. And the other one is 1416 in the theological, 1416, that's set. And you got 1562, that's stripped of. So that's ek duo, 1902, 1746. And what was the other one? 1742. That's the raiment there. So that's not in the theological dictionary. So let me just see if I can catch up to this here. And so in what's this, Romans? Okay, even if we die before the parousia, um, that's endousimenoi. A strong point against this view is that elsewhere in Paul, uh, stenese means painful but hopeful yearning for final redemption. Romans 8:22. Romans 8:22. Romans 8:22. So with the clothing and being clothed with, and we just bounce around here. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of the body. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why does yet he hope for? That makes sense to me. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. And 2 Corinthians 5, 2 Corinthians 5, right? Yeah, 5. Now he that wrought us for the self same thing is God, who hath also given us the earnest of the Spirit. And it's talking about groaning in the tabernacle, being unclothed, and we want to be clothed on. Okay? So Paul can hardly have described the intermediate state, which is one of fellowship with Christ, which is Philippians 1:23. Philippians 1:23. I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. And having this confidence, I know that I shall abide and continue with you all for your furtherance and joy of faith, that your rejoicing may be more abundant in Jesus Christ for me by my coming to you again. And gnomos is the nakedness. That's 11:31. I'm not getting into that. The putting off of the body does not refer to the dying of believers prior to the parousia. Well, we know what the parousia is. That's the coming of Jesus. But to the fate of unbelievers who, when they die, whether before or at the parousia, lose the earthly body without having the heavenly body, which believers await, according to Paul. So we're not going to be naked, so to speak. The sense is the passive. So we put off this body, and what do we put on? We put on Christ, and that's enduo. I don't have those numbers here. Whoops. Enduo. We put on Christ. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? We have to look at this verse. Body more than what? Raiment, 1742. And Duma. And these are all connected here. And what happens in Matthew 22:11? And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man which had not on a wedding raiment. And what happened to him? He was asked to leave. And he said unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? What's the wedding garment? Wedding garment. Well, that's the 1742. That's the enduma. So the wedding garment is gamos. That's the wedding garment. So we need that. We have to have that put on. And I guess it would be like the white robes too, you know. And he was speechless. He didn't know what to say because he didn't know. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. We see that phrase a lot in the Bible. Even when he sent everybody out for a penny a day, and he sent the guys out early in the morning to work, and the guys at the last minute he sent them to work, and everybody got a penny because that's what he promised them. And many are called, few are chosen. Why they stuck that at the end of there, I don't know. But it means that we're all equal. Nobody's greater, nobody's greater, nobody's lesser than. If the 4,000 years ago the Jews had this and the Gentiles didn't, and now the Gentiles have it, and the Jews rejected it. So the first will be set aside, and the last coming in. That's what that means. We're all equal here. So outside the New Testament, in the New Testament, it is found only in Colossians, and this is epic duo in Colossians, fully to put off in the bold image of Colossians 3:9. Is it on here? I don't think it's up here. What number is that? Colossians 3:9. Let's find out what the number is. Colossians 3:9. 3:9. Lie not one to another, seeing that you have put off the old man with his deeds. So this is clothing. This is what we put on clothing when we put off clothing. And this is epic duomai. That's 554. Let me put that here. Epic duomai 554. 554. And I think that's one time or two times in the Bible. Two times. 554. Let me put it up here. All right. We're doing good here now. And Colossians 2:15, and having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. So what did he do? He took off their clothes, having spoiled. That's good. I like this. Epic duomai. Epic and ekduo. That's another one that's in there too. All right, good. 1562. Yeah, that's right there. Okay, 554. So we're going to put off the old man. That's what we're going to do. The double compound, if used intentionally, is meant to exclude any possible return to the old state. So we're going to put off that old man with his deeds. So this particle, loosely linked with what precedes, is meant imperatively. So that's an imperative. Let me see if that's imperative. Put off. Aorist, middle deponent, participle. Okay. Spoiled. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't have an imperative there anyway. Colossians 2:15, disarming the powers and forces, he put them to shame. Attempts to see a middle sense, to divest himself of or to put off. That's not satisfactory. It means like to totally take them off, disarm the powers, as elsewhere in the Koine. What's this? James 4:2. This is particularly suitable because the usage is figurative and because the one who acts has a personal interest in his actions. Epikaliste equals epikalian. James 4:2. James 4:2. James 4:2. You lust and you have not, you kill, you desire to have and cannot obtain, you fight in war, you cannot have because you ask not, you ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lusts. Sukkali. I'm looking for this word. Them you kill desire to have, and you cannot obtain. You fight in war. You have not because you ask. Mateo. You adulteresses and adulteresses, know ye not that friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore be a friend with the world, be an enemy of God. I'm looking for a word here. Luke 15 and 6. 15 and 6. And they come, they call his friends and neighbors, saying, Rejoice, I have found my sheep which was lost. I don't get it. Sum Caliste. Here it is. Sukale. When he cometh home, he calleth together. Sum Caliste. Call together. So what was that one in James 4:2? James 4:2. Is it in here? James. Nope. I don't know what word they were looking at in James 4:2. But it's sum kalian or sum kaleo. All right. So let's get back to this and duo stuff here. Sorry for doing that. So to draw on and duo, to put on, and what's the number here? 1746. So we'll stick with just this one here. 1746. And we'll go to Mark 15. All right. 17 and 20. And they clothed him with purple and plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And when they mocked him, they took off the purple from him and put on his own clothes on him and led him out to crucify him. And duo, to put on, to be clothed with. Luke 15:22. But the father said to the servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him. And that's the prodigal son. Matthew 22:11. And he saw the man that had not on a wedding garment. Okay. Revelation 15 and 6. And the seven angels came out of the temple, having the seven plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. So we can go back into the colors into the Old Testament, talk about putting on things there, and that's study for another day. To put on something, to clothe oneself with something, to draw on something. Let me see here. In the Septuagint, and duo and didusco is most likely used for the 3847. 3847. 3847. That's this one. So if you throw the and duo into the Old Testament, this is what you're going to come up with. Labash. We can do that, but take my word for labash, clothes. All right, and it relates to putting on clothes. Job in 10:11, I think it is. I think it's Job. I'm reading this Greek here. Job 10:11. Here we go. Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews. He was lamenting, his life. It's important from the standpoint of biblical anthropology. A distinctive expression is pneuma and duste, and that's in Judges 6:34. It's either Judges or Jubilee or something. Here it is, Judges 6:34. He says, "But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him." 6:34. First Chronicles 12:18. First Chronicles 12:18. So if you throw Enduo into the Old Testament, this is what you'll come up with. Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, whatever it is. And then Second Chronicles 24:20. And the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada. All right. Quite common is the application to investing with ethical and religious qualities of a positive and negative kind, as in some independent statements in the Septuagint. Can't go through all of these, but you'll see that if you throw it into the Old Testament here. Well, let me go with this here. And Duo 1746. Greek Old Testament, G 1746. Boom. All of the stuff we looked at here. In coats of skin, they clothed him. 3847. Labesh. It's when the first sacrifice in the garden. I don't know why this ain't coming up. H 3847. 3847. Labesh. To wrap around, figuratively, to put on. So you don't have to take my word for it. It's there. Close this out. Close this out. And close that out. I was doing some Hebrew before. 3847. All right, we're going to go back. So in the New Testament, it is used literally in Matthew 6:25. 6:25. Where therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Yes, it is. 6:25. And Mark 6:9. But be shod with sandals, and not put on two coats. And he's telling them how to act when they're walking around, integrating with people. So in Acts 12:21, and upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and he made an oration to him. And you know what happened to him? And then Revelation 19:14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. What's Daniel 10:5? Let me see if there's a cross-reference on this. Daniel 10:5. No. What's Daniel 10:5? If mine eyes had looked to behold a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. Clothed. 3847. There's Labash. He put on the clothing. 3847. Figuratively, is found in, we read 2 Corinthians 5:3, where the best authorities say that we might not be found naked after putting on the heavenly body. Less likely is endusamenoi, predictively, and oi gumnoi, exegetically. So that's something about being naked there, putting on and being naked. That even then, in the case of ependusite, we might be found clothed and not naked. Okay, takes up again. Paul desires to be clothed with a heavenly body in order that he may be spared the non-bodily existence of unbelievers. So he doesn't want to be naked. On the passive sense, let me see, of the Christian armor in Romans 13:12. Romans 13:12. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. That's great. Photos. Put on the armor of light. Photos. Armor. 3696. Hoplon. It's a weapon of light. Phos. Put on the armor of light. And 1 Thessalonians 5:8. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. Ephesians 6:11. Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. 6:14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So we're going to put this stuff on. It's going to be enduo. 6:14. Specific qualities. Colossians 3:12. Put on therefore. Well, you got 3:10. It says, and having put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond or free, but Christ is all and in all. And that's what we're supposed to put on. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any may have a quarrel against thee, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Above all things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. That put on is not there, but we can assume that. So we're going to put it on as the elect of God. And then Luke 24:49. And behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until you be what? Endued with power from on high. So this is just putting on. It's all putting on. And 1 Corinthians 15, 53. I love 1 Corinthians 15, 53 and 54. For this corruptible must put on incorruption. For this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. To be invested with power, with incorruptibility. Wow. With immortality. So you got both of them. You got incorruption and immortality. Incorruption, aphtharsia. Incorruption, aphthartos. Aphthartos, incorruptible. And of course, immortality, athanasia. Athanasia. It comes from A and thanatos. We know thanatos is death, so there's no death. It's immortality. We're going to live together forever, either seeing God or not seeing God. What do you want? Not seeing God is hell, seeing God is heaven. So, much the same sense is given by the personal object in Galatians 3:27. For as many as you have been baptized into Christ have what? Have put on Christ. So we're in duo. We're stepping into that clothing. It means that we are clothed upon with Christ. It can also be used as an ethical imperative, however, with an active accent, active assent in Romans 13:14. Romans 13:14, which we probably read already. Well, we read 12. Put on the armor of light, but put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ. So when it talks about putting on the light, putting on the armor, putting on everything, what are we putting on? We're putting on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof. So, and there's a couple of verses here. 6:11. What's Romans 6:11? They got it here, but I don't see it up here. Romans 6:11. Likewise, reckon you also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Jesus Christ our Lord. 6:5. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of death, we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection. Colossians 3:5 with Colossians 3:5 with 3:3. Colossians 3:5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. For you are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. So the usage of Paul has nothing whatever to do with the donning of the garment or the mask of the god by the initiate. And let's see, but the figurative expression are the nearest to the imperative usage, though they hardly have the same content. There are no parallels for Paul's indicative usage. Behind this stands the eschatological conception of Christ as the second Adam. This conception is given a more individual application when Paul speaks imperatively, though with a strong suggestion of the related indicative in Colossians 2:11. Colossians 2:11. In whom you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, in putting off the body of sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ. So we're putting off something and then we're putting on something. Putting off. Epikdusis. That's part of this study too. Epikdusis. Epikdusis. There it is. 555. 555. So we got 554 and 555. Epikdusis and epekduomai, put off. What was that? What's my page here? So we put on the new, and it's epekdusis is put off, and then put on the new. Anthropos, man. It's a new man. It's not in the text. Where I got that? Okay, never mind. So Colossians 3:10 we read. I don't think we read, but we want to read it now. 3:10, and we put on the new man, which renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. So the word anthropos, the man, is not there. So we put on the new. What do we put on the new? What? It's not man. Man is not in the text. They just threw that in there. And Ephesians 4:24. I should just do a cross reference with all of these putting on things, but 4:24. 4:24. And ye that put on the new man, that's in there. This new put on 1746 and duo, the new, and anthropos is here, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. That's it. And ependuo, what's ependuo here? To put over on. Let me see. In the New Testament, it occurs in 2 Corinthians 5:2 and 4. 2 Corinthians 5:2 and 4. I just want to find the number here. For in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed upon with our house, which is from heaven. 1902. Yes, okay. That's the word. We looked at this already, but I just want to get to your definition. Ependuomai, to be clothed upon, to put on over. For we that are in this tabernacle do groan. All right. And we got those words: clothed, unclothed, and the fish's coat, ependusites, John 21. John 21. That's when they went fishing, right? John 21:7. Therefore, that disciple whom Jesus loved said unto Peter, it is the Lord. Now, when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fish's coat unto him, for he was naked, and he did cast himself into the sea. When we say naked, it doesn't mean he was absolutely bare naked. You know what I'm saying? Put on his fish's coat. His fish's coat. One time in the Bible. For he was naked. Not naked. Whom knows? And he did cast himself into the sea. So that's 1903. That's ependutes, his fisher's coat. That's an upper garment. Seems to denote a kind of linen blouse or frock which fishermen used to wear at their work. So it would be something that he would put over his other garment. And then 1 Corinthians 15, I think we looked at these already. 15, 1 Corinthians 15, 51 and 53. 51 and 53. Read this out of here. But I will show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on. And we just looked at that, 1553. Let's see if I'm doing the right thing here. Yeah. Put on 1746. That's in duo. Okay. And the meaning, since verse 3, Paul uses the simple endusamenoi. He does not employ ependusaste to distinguish the change at the parousia from that of the resurrection, but in the whole passage is simply thinking of the change at the parousia. Wow. So that's good. So we're going to put on. All right. And apecdusis in the New Testament is found only in Colossians 2:11. Apecdusis. Let me find the number for this. Colossians 2:11. In whom you are also you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands,